Welcome to Google Maps Wanderer. I'm Ezra, the host of this YouTube channel. Google Maps Wanderer is just like the name suggests. We're using Google Maps, specifically Google Satellite and Google Street View, to just check out random places all around the world. I don't have time or money to travel everywhere that I want to go, but I do want to see different places around the world, and not necessarily the spectacular. I want to see what everyday life is like in different places. I want to see cool features just by stumbling upon them, just as if I were walking down the street in some random country and seeing, what the houses look like, what the restaurants look like. Of course, we're going to look at other features, notable features. I love coastlines. I love, deserts. I love geography in general. I love to just look at maps and just see what different places look like. So for the first episode, we're going to take a look at Dubai. Now, Dubai is, of course, a world famous city. It is very well known, very well traveled. And why Dubai? Well, my family and I have talked about moving to Dubai, living in Dubai at various times in our lives. There's a lot of jobs there. There's a lot of international people there. There's people from all over the world, outnumbering, in fact, locals. So I'm curious. I want to get the sense for if we lived there, what would we be seeing when we look out the window of our car or public transportation? I've never been to Dubai. I've only flown through the airport once. So this will give us an opportunity to explore. So let's take a look. So we have a satellite view here on Google Maps of the Dubai and surrounding areas. As you can see, it's desert. No surprise there. I think it's late evening there, like 10 or 11 p.m. or later, and it's still about 32 degrees Celsius. It's still in the low 90s Fahrenheit. So very hot, obviously. It's September when we're recording this. So it's very hot, very summery still. You can see once you get out of the city, it's desert. And one thing that stands out to me is how red the sand is. And it's not your typical sort of sand dunes that you see, in common like perceptions of what deserts look like. It looks very flat, very red, very sort of moonscape like. So, all right. So another thing that catches our eye here about Dubai, looking at the Google satellite view, is the palm tree fake islands there that were built, and also this world map. So this is really cool. This is a well-known, massive project to build islands that sort of look like a world map. So maybe we could take a look at these places. But I also just want to see what a regular neighborhood looks like. So let's zoom in. Let's just go to Dubai. Let's just pretend that we're going to pretend that we're just living. We're just like a middle class. We're just a middle class family here in Dubai. Let's just go to like a regular neighborhood. I don't know where like regular folks live in Dubai. Maybe it's like closer to up here. One thing I noticed close to the airport of Dubai is Sharjah, as the city of Sharjah. I didn't know that the two were right next to each other, and I know that that is another emirate. So less popular, maybe less well known. So maybe we could start, close to the airport, what a regular neighborhood might look like near the airport. It's probably kind of noisy. It's probably not the like highest end area. So let's go to Al Qusais neighborhood over here. Let's see what that looks like. All right. Okay, so here we are on a street, regular old street in Al Qusais. Looks pretty spread out. Looks like there's a lot of sand, not a lot of plants. And I guess if you don't have a ton of money or desalination facilities, you're not going to do a lot of irrigation. So I guess there's just not a lot of trees, and the trees that are there naturally are just really hardy, like date palms and that kind of thing. Here we have a hedge. And so here are some buildings, some commercial buildings. Maybe that's a car dealership. There's a mosque over there. You're going to see obviously a lot of mosques. It is an Arab country, is a Muslim country. And So yeah, so this is what a regular street looks like. You'll see that the signs are in Arabic and English. That must be helpful for travelers in other countries. And look at this. This is something I haven't seen a lot of in these places like Dubai. Is look, there's a thunderhead over there. It looks like it's going to storm, which is probably pretty unusual for Dubai. That must be off in the distance. Maybe this was taken in the winter time. But moving along here, you see just kind of interesting. There's like a lot of like hard scrabble, like earth. It looks like things are always kind of being tilled or kind of being under construction. But one thing you'll notice is these walled towns, these walled, or homes rather, gated, walled, separated from everything else. Nothing particularly exciting around it. Lots of nice windows though in the house itself. That must be a nice house to be inside. Probably lots of light. But you know, once you go outside that, you know, you don't see a ton, and you see this a lot in Arab countries. I think they have a lot of walls because of modesty. You know, you're not supposed to. You know, women are covered out of the home, so you'll see a lot of modesty. People just are kind of private in their own dominions, and also probably to keep like traditionally back in the day, probably to keep like Arab raiders, you know, Bedouin raiders coming in and stealing your livestock. You want to have walls around your house, and also you want to keep out the dust and the sand and the wind. I'm just conjecturing here. So here's your mosque, and here's an office building, health center. That's probably good to have. So as you can see, it's like looks like a pretty solidly middle class or upper middle class place. Here's a more open kind of house with a car park and some office buildings and that kind of thing. All right, so there you have a middle class kind of neighborhood. Let's go over here to the creek, Dubai Creek. Here, from what I understand in my limited experience, you can go kind of walking around. Here's the dhow wharfage. So dhows are the traditional Arab ships that they used to use, the boats for trading and that kind of thing. So let's drop our pin down at the dhow wharfage. Well, I don't want to be stuck in that traffic. So I wonder if we can get a little bit closer. There is a lot of boats over here. All right. So maybe some pleasure cruises you can take. Got some more people walking around here. Got some sidewalks. Got some like people unloading and uploading. So, there's a customs. Okay. So you get your stuff there. So it's like an active port with goods coming in. And there's a sleek office facility. That's pretty cool. That probably would be a good place to work if you had an office job, you know, kind of in the middle of everything. What I don't see right here is, okay, there's the wharfage and everything, but where's the restaurants? I don't see a lot of like places to eat, like just walk up and get some street food or something. So, yeah, let's keep going here. Not seeing a ton in the way of livelihood, but look, these office buildings are very sleek and well put together. All right, let's get out of that. And let's go over here to the dry docks. I also like ports and docks and love a good. Let's see what that might look like. Let's see if we can get a good view. So you drag the little Google Street guy, you drop him down where you want to take a look, and here we have probably a cafe or something where people can rest. And there's some couple dudes. What's up, guys? And we have probably some port areas. Here's a beach resort, Nikki Beach Resort and Spa. Okay, it's got 4.5 stars. Wow, $2,000 a night. If you want to go there for New Year's Eve, that sounds like a lot of money. Let's see if we can get a better look at what it looks like, what the coastline looks like. Let's go across Port La Mer. Okay. All right, so we can kind of see what it looks like over here. Doesn't quite look like the photo from across the way. Whoops. Okay, so I exited satellite view, so I do want to go back to that. We can also zoom in here. This might be better just to take a look at what it might look like. Lots of swimming pools. No, I guess no surprise there when it's a hot place like that with a lot of money. And cool. Well, we have some what appear to be condo buildings and that kind of thing. I just wonder though, like who is staying here, who's vacationing here? Is it really worth it? I don't know. It doesn't look like that much fun to me, but to each his own. I like beaches, but let's see what this public beach looks like. We can take a look here. Okay, here we have some bathers. All right, so here we have a beach. Looks okay. There's some people in bikinis and that kind of thing. So as you know, there's a lot of international folks there. Normally, you wouldn't see a ton of sunbathers and women in bikinis, but you know, fortunately, Dubai is very, open and global that way. And so, taking a step back from the beach, we have some. Oh, this looks nice. See, this looks like the kind of neighborhood that I'd want to spend my time in. Maybe if I were visiting Dubai, just to have like a kind of nice little promenade there. It looks like there's a lot of empty storefronts, so maybe it's like a newer development. But this seems like more like a city type of place that you would want to walk around in. Um, all right. Well, there you have sort of central Dubai. And then, of course, we can also go out. I wonder if we can go out to these islands over here. How do you go? And each one is named. Oh, that's right. Each one is named after its own country. That's pretty awesome. Can we zoom in on this? Like, what does it even look like? Are these just completely empty? Are these just completely sandy still? Okay, it's 2025, but Portofino, Saint Tropez. Somebody took a picture over there. The heart of Europe. Okay. All right, so somebody built something here. Looks like there is a hotel there. Um, okay. Voco something something Monaco. All right, so you can go out there. Now, some of these islands are built up. Let's take a look at what the beach looks like. Let's grab our street view guy. Oh, wow. Okay, there's a lifeguard. Hey, man. He doesn't look too busy. Doesn't look like there's a lot of people on the beach. Probably the middle of the day. We're going over here. And we're going over here. Yay. Beaches, private cabanas, all that good stuff. Great. Looks more remote, like almost like you're in the middle of the Indian Ocean or something. Of course, it is kind of remote, but you're also close to the Grand Weld shipyards. So if you want to while your ship is getting dry docked, just have them drop you off, my friend, at the World Islands. All right, let's go to the more settled islands. What is the Palm? What does this place really look like? Let's start at the beginning of the palm tree, the trunk. All right, you're getting on some kind of causeway, and I think this guy means you're going north, right? So we're looking north. All right. So I think we are. Let's blow this guy up. Yes. All right. You can do this kind of split view thing with Google Maps. And okay, so we're out in the central causeway. You don't feel like you're on a palm tree shaped peninsula right here, do you? You just feel like you're on some kind of boulevard here. Yeah. All right. So not too much to write home about here. Just a lot of condo buildings, a lot of people living there. Just kind of looks like some regular apartment blocks that you would see anywhere else in the Middle East. Ottoman Palace. I spent some years in Turkey, so I'm curious to see what the Ottoman Palace would look like. Let's go out over here. Zoom in. Ooh, there we go. You got to have a place at the end of these palm fronds, I guess. Nice. All right. Wow. Okay, so the ticket for Dubai looks like you got to have your accommodations sort of on the inside, or you got to have your beach sort of on the inside facing inward. That seems to be the more chilled out beach, I guess. Not that the other beach is super wavy, but maybe. Ooh, that looks like a nice. Yeah, all right. You can just relax on those chairs. Nobody is there, though. I wonder what time of day it is. Nobody is freaking there. Let's go out to the beach. Let's go out to the seaside. Okay, so you have a promenade. Wow, look at that. That must be nice at nighttime. You get a nice skyline view. All right, so a lot of stuff still under construction, kind of not very settled in terms of how it looks. It looks very hot, very, very hot, not much shade. Looks like this has potential, yeah? Like lots of buildings being built, but at the same time, like not actively because I don't see a lot of construction equipment there. So it looks like they abandoned the project. All right. All right. Wow. So just lots of cool water features. I love these sort of intricate Dubai Marina Walk. Ooh, that looks nice. Lots of big buildings there. And then you can go back here, more construction. Okay, now we're talking. This is what I kind of like. This kind of like Riverwalk, Marina Walk type places. You get to go, and maybe you want to rent a boat here. I don't know if that's like a water taxi or something. You have like this cozier like waterfront with shade and rounded coastlines and views of buildings. Like a nice place to take your, boyfriend or girlfriend or significant other or whatever. Go walk with your grandma, just to kind of see, stop, pop by, grab a coffee. Nice third spaces for people to enjoy. Very nice. See, that's where I would spend my time, I think. And then you have like these kinds of places. The Springs development. All right. And then, see, this looks like more my speed. You got like a nice kind of feels like Las Vegas or Boca Raton, Florida or something like that. Lots of developments. Lots of fancier big homes over here. Look at the size of these babies. So I'm sure a lot of very important, good people live there. And let's just take a zoom out. So, okay, so what is it like way out in the outskirts, like right fronting the desert? Here you can take a safari. What does that look like? Cool. You can camp out there. All right, so what if you wanted to just, what does it like look here? Like it's just done. Like the city is over. Like I've been to like Las Vegas and other places where it's just the edge of the development. And this is what it looks like, just shells of these buildings. And they're not finished. You know how I know they're not finished? Because there's no construction equipment again. They just ran out of money. Ran out of demand. It's the boom and bust cycle. So that's what that looks like. That is not some place I'd really want to be, but hey, it could be a lot worse. All right, so this is what it looks like out here. I see a fair amount of natural. I wonder if there's like a lot of groundwater. There's a lot of trees there. I wonder if they're like planted or how they live. Here's some folks. Here's a guy with his dirt bike just cruising. He probably went out into the desert, had some fun. And then, yeah, so that's pretty much Dubai. And you go up to Sharjah, which I understand is a little more poor and working class. What does an average neighborhood looks like out there? We can go over here and check it out. Again, we have like a lot of walls, a lot of seclusion, a lot of privacy if that's your thing. And can't really see what the houses look like. It looks quieter. It looks like a quiet street. Again, pretty decent sized homes, pretty nice kind of stuff. These folks have a couple cars parked there. Not bad. I could be a lot worse in life. Hey. All right. So that's Sharjah. And that's pretty much a rundown of what the area looks like. Not a lot of places to walk around. You need a car, not a lot of hotels. People love Dubai. There's a lot of people there. And a lot of people from all over the world. Just not a ton of like beautiful places to walk around and look at. But that's I'm sure there's wonderful people there. I'm sure I'd have a great time if I lived there. It just, in terms of the aesthetics, it's a different place. It's very deserty and it's very spread out and it's very rocky. Well, that's all for Google Maps Wanderer today. Where we explored Dubai via Google Street. And please, if you have any suggestions of places where you want me to check out that's like fun or your hometown, get my impressions, be more than happy to wander the streets, wander the natural features on Google Maps. This is Ezra for Google Maps Wanderer, signing off.